What's up, guys? We're back in the art room today, and I'm gonna do another portrait today, and it's gonna be my typical style, the style that I normally draw them, but this is also gonna be a bit of a tutorial because I wanted to go over something today to help beginner artists or artists of any level really who want to get a little better at drawing portraits. I think I put a little too much covering my mouth right now because I don't want to breathe this charcoal dust. So for anybody that's new to my page, I really try to knock off as much of this charcoal powder because it can be hard to seal afterwards when I spray fixative over it if I have a lot of just loose charcoal. So I really want to get this nice and smooth and just try to knock off as much as I can. All right, I think that's it right there. Today I'm going to start with my highlighted areas, and I'm going to keep my mask on for a bit just because I still see some floaties floating around. So today I'm doing a male figure, and he's going to be kind of crouched down. Before I start on his facial features, I just want to get an idea of where his body, like how he's going to be crouched down. Right now this is just the rough sketch part. He's crouched kind of low. I'm using a Bristol paper, smooth Bristol paper. So yeah, we're just getting like a basic outline of where everything's gonna go. He's gonna have his arm rested here, his forearm. This arm's gonna come down and kind of be in between his legs. So yeah, he's crouched down pretty low. I wanted to go over the Lumis method a little bit, just because I don't use it often, but it's a great way to draw faces, and I am just not the type of artist that can draw perfect circles. And then we are gonna add this kind of an oval shape here. What we're doing is we're just cutting off the sides, and we're gonna imagine we're doing the same on this side here. I'll just make this circle a little bigger here, the side of his head, since it's gonna be tilted more this way. And I'm not really going for like a perfect kind of oval shape. And this is gonna be kind of like the direction of his head. So if you want him looking more downwards, you're gonna make this line more this way. Right, and this is gonna be his brow line. And then this top line right here is gonna be where his hairline is gonna be. Since we're dividing this into fourths, I'm gonna add this other kind of curved line here. And this line is gonna be the bottom of his nose. And then we have to add our fourth line here. So we just try to do an equally spaced line. So now we're just gonna draw like the center line of where everything's gonna be centered. And I'll round it out up until about right here where his chin's at. Down here we need to straighten this part and start squaring out his jaw. And that will go off this center line here. We're gonna add a big old beard here. And then he's gonna be wearing my usual kind of puffy looking cotton. I typically just like doing like these dark, kind of billowy, puffy clouds. It doesn't look like much right now, but it'll get there slowly. Let's see, with this method, it really helps with figuring out where everything goes. I'm not going to do the details on the face just yet until I kind of block in some of these darker areas. And then I don't want to erase these lines either just yet, so I can show you how I use them. For now, I just want to block in some areas so I can start building up my image here as far as composition goes. I squint a lot just to help me determine where I want to place my larger shapes. So I'm not really looking for details just yet. I just want to fill in these large pieces. So this bottom right quarter here is where we're going to put his ear, and I can use my mono 0 to erase this part here. Don't really need it just yet or anymore, or this line. That way you guys can see the ear a little better. And we'll just work on his hairline a little bit. This is kind of his brow, but his brow line, but his eyebrows are going to be a little bit higher than that line that I created. And then I mentioned how this bottom line is where his nose is going to be at. So again, just a rough shape of a nose for now. His lips will be about 1/3 of the way, so we can just break this up into thirds. And that's where his lip line is going to be. So since he has a beard, all this is going to be covered up. I want to erase these lines just because they kind of get in the way. As soon as you're happy with your face, the composition of where everything's at, you can start cleaning things up. I got to figure out my light source. I typically have it above them, so it's going to be coming down. We'll say it here, but then we got to figure out if it's going to be like right above him, behind him, or even slightly forward, right? And I actually like using my lamp here. So that's kind of where I typically place my light source, and it just helps me figure out where everything's at. I can literally look at like my own hand and see how the light bounces around. Now I'm just going over some of the more highlighted areas. And I haven't done much, but you can already see this face starting to take shape. Maybe some light bouncing off of his beard here. This will be his shoulder area coming down. Some of this back here is like his clothing. And I'm just stepping back once in a while and just making sure everything makes sense. So his arm is going to be like here. If I wanted it perfect, I'd use a grid method or a lot more technique like we did with the Lumis method to get things exact. So I definitely recommend. Learning technique is as boring and as time consuming as it can be. It's just gonna make you a better artist, I think. I think a lot of my drawings come from like just repeated mistakes. I'm constantly, literally erasing, smudging. So it feels like I'm building something and trying to create something and making adjustments. So this area that I'm working on is going to be his arm and his knee. He's crouched down, so his arm's going to be like in between his knees. I feel like I need to start darkening some areas to help me out here. And I think I'm going to have to make some adjustments to his face as well, because it's just looking too small for me. Collarbone somewhere there. Yeah, now that I'm looking at his face, it definitely needs to be like bigger. But I normally don't use the Lumis method. I just kind of do this, what I'm doing right now. They almost look like they have black eyes when I first start. Asking me where his nose is at. It's too pointy though. We're gonna fix that. He's gonna be an old guy. Older guy, I should say. So what I'm trying to, I guess, show with this drawing is I want to show a man who has been through it. So he's like dirty, covered in soot, and he's kneeling, but not because he's done. He's just catching a breather. I like drawing a mix of like calm and chaos, and for me it's about showing tenacity and determination, and sometimes it's just about finding some calm in the middle of chaos. So I'm building this face up and occasionally just stepping back and see where I'm going to place everything. And he's an older gentleman, so I got to add some gray hairs in here. This beard should be in a shadowy area, so I'm going to darken it up some more. It's like I overshadow areas or I over darken them and then I just pull them out. So he may be thinking, right? Looks like he's thinking. He's taking a break and he's thinking. Kind of stringy, wiry beard. Maybe I can add some up here to his hair. It's kind of these random little strands. And I gotta add some shape to the top here, so this is a good area because the highlights are here from his shoulder. When art starts to become like stressful, that's when I don't like it. Like I don't like drawing if it feels like a job, you know, or it just feels like work. Kind of figure out my weird perspective that I got going on here. And I mean, if I don't like it, I can always change it. So his knuckles are going to be here, right along here, and his thumb here. This is going to be his left arm here. This eraser's pretty used. It looks just black right now. But I don't want to knead it too much because this is going to be in a dark area. He's like really crouched down. Just really low. This almost looks like he's flying around. I gotta ground him a little bit because he does look like he's flying, which I actually really like. But I'm gonna add like a shadow down here, which I should add if my light source is above. But this just kind of grounds him. And then I'll add some hints of his feet down here. His feet will be like right here, or his right foot. And then the other one like here maybe. I'm going to add some dark and light areas. So this is like one of my favorite parts is, and I know some people don't like them, I just really enjoy this part. It's just how freeing it feels, and I just like how the white just kind of looks against this background. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy. Just a simple sketch for today. And I hope you guys like it. Thanks for watching.